From Chief O'Halloran's bullhorn, it's the IGN Digigods. So please welcome two men who know that Chief O'Halloran was a character from the Towering Inferno, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Love those Irwin Allen references. Bob, to whom do we owe that outstanding listener-supplied opening?
Lenny Timmons, thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. Mark, you look like you're dead to the world.
Can I tell you how I spent my lunch today?
How'd you spend your lunch today?
Now, this has nothing to do with movies or DVDs.
Right.
But it really made me angry.
Okay.
So at lunch, I walked to the yogurt store. And at the frozen yogurt store,
Right.
You build your own yogurt. You take the empty cup, and you fill it with yogurt and toppings and fudge and whatever.
Yeah.
So I take the empty cup, fill it up with some yogurt, walk over to the hot fudge thing with the pump. You pump in, hot fudge comes out. So I walk up to the hot fudge thing. I pump the hot fudge thing, and a big 10-inch splurch of hot fudge goes all over my pants.
Oh, that's
nice.
nice.
I say to the guy, damn it, the hot fudge went all over my pants. You better pay for the dry cleaning. He says, no, we give you free yogurt. I said, I don't want free yogurt. Pay for the dry cleaning. He goes, no. Yogurt on us. I said, no, the yogurt's on me. It's on my pants. I want free dry cleaning. So he won't do it. And I'm thinking to myself, now...
People's Court.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. The price of dry cleaning, the price of dry cleaning,
yeah,
and the price of a free yogurt, about the same, right? More than $5.
Sure.
One of them makes your customer happy and makes him feel taken care of.
Yes.
The other is a bunch of lousy yogurt. So he decides on the lousy yogurt. So I'm like, F you, and I leave. Now I've got an enormous 10-inch smear of hot fudge all over my pants. So I go to the...
Sure.
So, exactly. So I go to the mall.
Been having problems, have you?
Yes, I have.
Digestive problems?
Yes. Oh, when you get older, you know how it is.
Yeah.
So I get in my car. I drive to the mall, and I go to Banana Republic. I got to get a new pair of pants.
Yeah.
So I go to Banana Republic. I pick out a pair of pants, and I walk up to the guy, and the pants I bought, I walk up there. They're $69.95 or whatever they are.
Pricey.
I walk up there. Turns out that no, they're not $69.95. They're $195.95. $195 pants. Slacks.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I had already spent about 15 minutes trying on pants that I thought were $69.95 before deciding on these pants that I thought were $69.95.
Oh my gosh.
So after putting up with the yogurt and the hot fudge and the arguing and the driving and the trying on of the pants, I get to the cash register. She says, no, it's $195. I'm like, you know what? I'll take them. So basically,
you
a
had
7-cent smear of hot fudge cost me $200. And then when I got back to the office, I immediately turned around and took those pants to the dry cleaners because there's a dry cleaner near my office. So my lunch was, let's recap. Yogurt, fudge, pants, Banana Republic, $200, dry cleaner. That was my lunch.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a great story.
Well, the DVD news.
This
can't
is
possibly,
a DVD show?
Yeah, I don't know how we can live up to that. But amazing announcement just today from Criterion.
That's right. Tell us all about it, Unky Wade.
Well, Criterion is everybody's been kind of, it took Criterion a long time to jump onto the Blu-ray bandwagon. They waited until that Blu-ray HD DVD war was done and buried, and then they came out with some amazing Blu-rays. And I mean, some of the state-of-the-art Blu-rays right now are all Criterion's. And the, of course, inevitable question has been, now that everything is going streaming and you have all of these web services that people can watch on their web applet-enabled TVs or their web apps or whatever you call them. You know, Vizio has those web apps. When's Criterion going to be a part of this? And just today it was announced Criterion is going to make 150 of their very best titles available on Hulu Plus, which is the non-free subscription-based version of Hulu. And there's going to be about 300 more to follow soon. So pretty soon you're going to have over 450 Criterion Collection movies available instantly from Hulu Plus, assuming that you are a subscriber.
I don't like it.
Why don't you like it, Mark?
Because we do a DVD podcast, Wade. If there's
Yes.
no more DVDs because everything's streaming, we're out of
Yeah.
a job.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, though. I don't think DVDs are going to be eventually eclipsed, and it's going to take a while because a lot of people just are not yet invested in web streaming, and they don't have the state-of-the-art TVs. They've got DVD players. They just want to do their little Netflix thing. And Netflix streaming doesn't yet make everything available if they have a PlayStation or whatever. And getting onto these other systems other than Netflix is just not going to come easily. So I think DVDs are going to be around a while. Blu-rays are really going to survive for a long, long, long time. I just don't see people getting rid of their Blu-rays in favor of streaming because it doesn't look as good.
Well, that's the hope. The hope is with Blu-rays, you get the high-definition picture, you get all the extras and the booklets and whatever, and I think there's still value in that.
There's a lot of value.
Especially with Criterion.
This is the thing. And, on Stupid for Movies, our other show that we do Thursday evenings, 8 o'clock live Pacific time, Mike was giving me the business the other day because I claimed that I think he misunderstood me when I said that Blu-ray was that over the holiday season, Blu-ray sales were more than expected, and streaming increase was less than expected. I wasn't saying that Blu-ray is beating streaming. What I was saying was that the growth in Blu-ray was percentage-wise more than what analysts had expected, and the growth in streaming was somewhat less than what analysts had expected. Now, both of those are still growing. DVDs are flat. They're not decreasing in sale. They're just flat. So there's a kind of a steady DVD market out there still, and that's not going the way of VHS anytime soon. So, I think what we're seeing is not a format war as much as a kind of fragmentation of the market. You got your DVD people, you got your Blu-ray people, got your streaming people, and you got a lot of people, most people, who simply choose one of the three depending on what they want to watch at any given time.
That is true. Look, I watch Netflix on my iPhone.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't watch Lawrence of Arabia on my iPhone.
Well, here are some movies that we're going to start off with foreign today, Mark. We haven't talked about good foreign films in quite a while, so we're going to blow through some foreign.
You do it, Wade.
Here are some foreign films that you're not going to find on streaming anytime soon. These come from Facets, and of course, Facets Video is an outstanding company that really does a lot of very, they do stuff, the artsy stuff, the foreign stuff, the cool culty stuff that you're just not going to find anywhere else. And this is for cinephiles almost entirely, but after many years of slaving away, trying to square away all kinds of technical issues and rights issues, they have finally begun delivering the Alexander Kluge collection. I know what you're thinking, Mark. Who the hell's Alexander Kluge? Isn't that what you're thinking?
No, I'm reading the invite to the Adjustment Bureau.
Oh, are you?
Because you know what? At this point,
you don't care anymore.
No, Universal is the only studio that sends out paper invites for critics. Everybody else emails their invites out.
That's true.
Now, I don't know why Universal. I guess why is Universal still sending theirs out?
I don't know.
On paper.
Old habits die hard.
I guess.
Die Hard. They're making another one of those, too.
Yes, they are.
But back to the subject. Alexander Kluge, just so to give our listeners a little bit of insight, Alexander Kluge was literally the godfather of the new German cinema movement. Before there was Werner Herzog, before there was Fassbinder, before there was Wim Wenders, or any of those guys, there was Alexander Kluge. He's the guy that pulled everybody together and said, we're going to sign the Oberhausen Manifesto, which was sort of like the dogma vow of chastity, the dogma manifesto thing long before. This is, 69, 70, 71, somewhere around there. And the Oberhausen Manifesto was it was their big, political and artistic statement about what new German cinema is going to all be about and who we are. Kluge was the guy. He's the guy. He's the one who started it all. Anyway, here is what we have so far, and there are a lot more coming, but the Kluge films have been anticipated for a long time, and this is what Facets has just given us. Yesterday Girl, The Big Mess, Willy Tobler and the Decline of the Sixth Fleet, Artists Under the Big Top, Perplexed, and Part-Time Work of a Domestic Slave. Now, all of these are intensely political and intensely social in nature. I have to say they're all really, really awesome, but very intense. You got that 70s Fassbinder thing with a little bit more of an edge, to be honest. Kluge can be much edgier than any of his contemporaries. Wenders and Herzog could be edgy. Fassbinder could very often be edgy, but these films really have a really sharp edge to them. They're beautifully acted. And from 1973, I think Part-Time Work of a Domestic Slave is absolutely fantastic. Kluge's sister, Alexandra, stars in the film, as a woman who is she's kind of caught in all of these turbulent waves of what's going on in German society at the time, and it all touches on labor strife and abortion and home strife, and it's really kind of a film about a very uncomfortable kind of woman's liberation. Also interesting, Artists Under the Big Top, :perplexed. That's the colon not spelled out, but the typographical symbol : This is a little bit more surreal in some respect. It's also very it's another woman at the center of this thing, and it kind of uses the circus as a pretext for an allegory about all of the struggles that these artists were going through with art and commerce at the time. Really beautifully shot, incredibly well made for 1968 in particular. And then of the remaining films, I think the one you would probably most enjoy is Yesterday, Girl, because it's the story of your life, Mark.
Am I a girl?
Yes, you are. No, this was a huge deal at the Venice International Film Festival at the time. And this also, once again, stars Kluge's sister. This one was made in 1966. This is kind of like almost pre-New German cinema in a way. But you see it all emerging at the time. And his sister plays this woman who's an East German and who has sort of put her entire life all into a bundle, hoping to get through the Berlin Wall and begin her life anew. And it's about all the baggage that she carries, literally and figuratively, and it's really interesting. You got a couple of cool short films on here too. A news clip from the '66 Venice Film Festival, and the films Brutality in Stone and Experiment in Love, the short film. So that's from the Kluge collection. A lot more really good stuff coming. And we also have, Mark, you saw the Zhang Yimou film, didn't you?
Which one?
That one.
I did. A Woman, a Gun, and a Noodle Shop. A Woman, a Gun, and a Noodle Shop is Zhang Yimou's take on Blood Simple, the Coen brothers' first film.
So surreal.
It is.
I'll let you do your spiel, and then I'll deliver mine.
Well, my spiel is this. I don't know why he made this film. It seems like he loved the first film and transferred it to a Chinese noodle shop. And to absolutely no particular effect. It's a little bit. It's definitely a little. It's more colorful. It's a little more out there. It's slightly comedic. It's definitely not as serious and brooding and film noirish as the original Blood Simple. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what Zhang was thinking when he decided to do this, other than. It's just this bug he had up his butt, and he just wanted to just do it, and now he can move on to something better.
See, now I largely agree with that. I did take a look at the Blu-ray. They sent us both the DVD and the Blu-ray, and the DVD is not really worth looking at. I gotta be honest. The Blu-ray is pretty beautiful. It's pretty beautiful. It's a really well shot film because Zhang Yimou, of course, began his career as a cinematographer. A lot of people don't know that, so his films are always beautiful to look at. But here's what's weird: this movie is, yes, it's the plot of Blood Simple. But it's done as a weird kind of period comedy, around this. The whole thing is very medieval. It's set in like this medieval desolate wasteland out in the Chinese desert somewhere. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, this is kind of Blood Simple, but it's also Dragon Inn or Dragon Gate Inn, two earlier films. One was made by Choi Huk and the other one was the original Dragon Gate Inn was made by King Hu, the great Taiwanese director. And it has all of the trappings of a King Hu film. So my sense was that Zhang Yimou he's bored now in his career. He's kind of like where Spielberg was after Schindler's List. He's bored. He's accomplished everything he needs to. He's won awards and accolades. He's not this pariah in the society anymore. He's not fighting with the government anymore. So what's he going to do? He's just going to start making, he likes an American film and he likes an Asian film. Why not splice them together? It's like a weird exercise for him. So I think it's a good film, but it's almost more like he's just trying to keep his skills sharp. He's just, not really, his heart doesn't seem to be in it.
I agree. I would pass on A Woman, a Gun, and a Noodle Shop.
It's a good film. I wouldn't pass on it, but it's, it's not his best. Also want to quickly mention there's a 4-pack out from Facets of 4 films from Kobayashi. Now, Masaki Kobayashi is one of the great
Kobayashi Maru scenario from Star Trek 2.
I knew you'd do that.
Kirk cheated on the Kobayashi Maru.
I know he did.
And then in the new Star Trek film, you find out what it is he did.
That's great.
Which I didn't really need, but there it is.
That's terrific. Anyway, this is the guy who did Qui-Gon and the amazing 3-part semi-autobiographical epic that is now on Criterion, The Human Condition, which you just got to see. If you haven't seen The Human Condition in all 9 hours of it, it is mind-boggling. It's beautiful. Spend a day watching it. This is a 4 set from Facets of 4 of his very fine films. Bashing, Bootleg Film, Man Walking on Snow, and The Rebirth. These have all been out before, but they come in a nice little package now. I suggest you go out and at least rent these films. Okay, now we're going to blow through some very important foreign language films, and I'm going to do this very, very quickly because we don't have a lot of time. The Milk of Sorrow by Claudia Loza was a Golden Bear winner in Berlin in 2009, and this was also nominated for Best Foreign Language Film this last year. This is a Peruvian film, and it has a very unusual angle to it, and I don't necessarily want to get into revealing what that angle is because you'll kind of go, ooh, if I tell you. But it's
What?
How would we put this? It's
a
social
movie.
realism. It's social realism from south of the border. And Latin American films are getting really, really interesting these days. So I would recommend this, Milk of Sorrow. Mother's Milk Will Never Be the Same. The Sicilian Girl is one of the, Italian cinema has kind of gone really crapsville. Oh, man, in recent years. It's like we need
Can you even name an Italian film you care about?
It's gone real south. I mean, and there's just nothing happening in Italian film these days, which is
Somebody needs to
heartbreaking.
make... Well, I liked Il Divo. That was good from last year.
Yeah, meh.
I would like to make a
Meh.
movie about Berlusconi and his underage prostitute.
Oh, my
girlfriend.
gosh, it'd be the best. It'd be the
Can you
best.
imagine if that happened in the United States? Can you
No.
imagine if the President of the United States took on a 17-year-old prostitute?
But see, remember, when I was living in France, the big news was that...
Mitterrand was probably doing something.
no, when I was living in France, the big news was that they had elected a porn star to parliament. And that was like, everybody in Italy was happy about that. I mean, Italy's politics are weird. Italy is the one country on earth that has proven you don't need a government to run a country. Because there was a time when they had something like 75 different governments in about 4 years. They just couldn't. They couldn't get anything done.
You're the best.
And Berlusconi, mind you, this is like his 4th or 5th stint as prime minister.
I know, it really.
He just keeps coming back.
He's like Kissinger. He just won't go away.
He will not go away. And every single time there's a scandal of some kind, and he just slicks his hair back and goes, "I don't pay for sex," and he's back in. It's amazing. It's just unbelievable. Like, honestly, if you were the left in Italy, wouldn't you be just so depressed? Wouldn't you just think, my gosh,
How corrupt does the guy have to be before the country turns on him?
just, like, what do they have to do? Anyway. No, this is actually a really good Italian film. It's called The Sicilian Girl, and it is based on the true story of the woman, the girl who basically caused in the early 90s caused the mafia to unravel in Sicily. And it is a fascinating story. It's really well done. Music Box Films has released it. They're getting a lot of good stuff. It's a very solid DVD. No extras on here, but forget about it. It's a good film, and if you've been missing good Italian film, that's what it's all about. Now, this next one is out on Blu-ray and on DVD. They did not send us the Blu-ray, and I'm not the least bit disappointed that they didn't, because I think this film is annoying as all crap. Now, Mark, I forget, did you see Enter the Void?
I did not, but
Okay.
I don't like Gaspar Noé, so that's
Yeah,
why I
I'm
didn't
not a
see
fan
it.
of Gaspar Noé either. Andy Klein and I were on the radio on NPR's Film Week talking about this, and Andy, of course, loves this because it's all, he's a child of the 60s and psychedelia and all this. Look, Gaspar Noé is a crazy French filmmaker who's made some horrible films. What was that first thing of his that we hated?
Irreversible.
No, Irreversible is the one with the rape scene.
Yeah, I hated
that's
that.
Just Monica Bellucci. That's just awful. No, he made the first one. What's the one of this? It's like Taxi Driver with a skinhead, crazy bald man who plays
yeah.
a butcher. That butcher. What was it?
It's called The Taxi Driver.
Butcher Man.
Butcher.
That's what it was.
The
anyway,
motion picture.
Gaspar Noé, he's out of his mind. Now, this film is technically very accomplished. It's there's no way to describe it. It's like there's this couple and this guy, he like overdoses on some kind of psychedelic, and then he like has an out of body experience. And the whole movie is this weird trip where you're floating above people and then flashing back in his life, and the whole thing is very trippy, very accomplished. Half the movie is like one continuous shot, or meant to be. It gets into all of it takes place in Japan, of all places, like, French language people in Japan. It is it's out of it. It's completely out of control. Very accomplished, but totally off-putting and really just grungy and nasty and very difficult to wrap your head around. It's assaultive against the audience. Like the opening credits take place with this thunderous beat music, and he runs what would normally be about 5 minutes worth of credits, runs them by in about 18 seconds.
Now that I like.
And it may even happen at the end of the movie. I can't remember if it's the beginning or the end because the whole thing is such a mind F. But it's really irritating. And here's what I find most annoying. There's a point near the end of the film, and I'm going to give this away, where he actually has he gives you the point of view of the inside of a woman's organ while a male member thrusts at you. Now imagine watching that on a 50-foot screen. What a jerk.
I would imagine watching that.
Jerk.
Forget the screen part.
Moving through, High Lane by a French director named Abel Ferry. High Lane, I unfortunately had the extreme displeasure of seeing at the Colcoa City of Light, City of Angels Festival this last year when I was on the jury. And this is, here's what Abel Ferry said. He said, hey, I know, I want a Hollywood career, so I'm just going to make a movie about a bunch of kids that go hiking, and then all kinds of horrible accidents happen, and they wind up at the mercy of some crazy, retarded guy who is living alone in the woods.
It's very much like Alexander Aja.
Yeah, exactly. But all it is, it's Friday the 13th meets Halloween.
And you know what? You make that movie for $8 million, and you wind up with a Hollywood career.
It's dreadful. It's just dreadful.
I'm not saying it's good.
People getting caught in bear traps, and then the crazy. Look, they even have a picture of the crazy dude, and he's got the same backstory as Michael Myers and Jason. He was like an abused child left out in the middle of the woods or something.
I'm surprised IFC would take that on. That's a very low rent project for IFC to put their name on.
Well, they did a little midnight run of it around the country, and that was that. Now, you know what the opening night film was at the City of Light, City of Angels Festival? It was this amazing movie that will undoubtedly get remade as a horrible American film. But Heartbreaker is a rockin' movie. This stars Roman Duras, who is a dude and an awesome actor, and Vanessa Paradis, who, of course, is Johnny Depp's wife, although not legally wife because they've never exchanged vows. But Vanessa Paradis, of course, was once a singer and is a pretty darn good actress in her own right, that diastema notwithstanding. But the story here is that Roman Duras, the title in French is so cool, Mark. It's l'arnaqueur. But it's
the broken heart.
No, an arnaqueur in France in French is a swindler, an arnaqueur. But you spell cœur like heart instead of the usual way, so it's like a swindler of the heart. It's a little wordplay.
Oh, look at that!
It's very clever.
It doesn't translate into the American version.
It doesn't.
Inglossity.
Oh, but it's such a clever twist of it's a clever little pun. Anyway, the story here is that Roman Duras is a guy who is hired to pull these scams where he seduces women away from would-be, lovers that someone, a parent or a cousin or somebody, doesn't want them to be with. So he breaks up relationships professionally, but only relationships that aren't good in the first place.
Don't tell me that he meets a girl and they fall in love.
Well, Vanessa Paradis' dad wants to bust up her marriage, so he hires Roman Duras to be the guy, and he of course works with his sister and his sister's husband. They're a team, right? They put on these big cons, these elaborate cons. But, we all know how the story's going to end, right? But it's so different from the way an American film would play one of these romantic comedies. It is really, really fun. It is a delightful film.
All right, Wade, I'm going to watch this just for you.
You do that.
I'm going to borrow this and watch it.
Okay. The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, they wouldn't get to us on Blu-ray. We're going to have to wait for it next month because they ran out. But, Mark, you saw this.
I did see it.
This
you know what?
You had a nickname for this.
I did?
Yeah, this is the film, the girl who completed the trilogy or something. Wasn't that what you called it?
The girl who, the girl with the dragon tattoo, absolutely terrific. The girl who played with fire, excellent. By the time you get to the girl who kicked the hornet's nest, I'm over it. And I think part of the reason I'm over it is because a lot of the film takes place in a courtroom, and there's a lot of explanation that goes on as all the threads are wrapped up. And it just doesn't come to that big, climactic, incredible explosion of a conclusion that you're hoping for. Also, this third one was done for TV. And it looks like it was done for TV because there's a lot of close-ups, and the money isn't there, the vistas aren't there. So at this point, I have to say that I was not all that happy with The Hornet's Nest, although the first two are terrific. Noomi Rapace, if that's how you pronounce her name.
Yeah, that's how I would pronounce it.
She has since gone on to, she's been discovered by a whole bunch of American directors, which is great because she'll make a lot of money. But then when all those movies suck, she'll go back to wherever she's from and make movies there. Anyway, extras include pretty much nothing. There's a featurette. And that's about it.
Boo.
But if you've seen the first two, you can't not see the girl who kicked the hornet's nest. Just don't expect
Brilliance.
Don't expect it to be a. It's satisfying in the sense that all the threads are wrapped up, but as a film, it's not that satisfying.
Bummer.
Especially compared to the other two. Oh,
Not yet.
But I want
Stop. We're moving along. I'm almost done with the foreign stuff. Give me a second. Still Walking is a Japanese film from Hirokazu Koreeda, who does these wonderful kind of ethereal films about life. He's just a great Japanese director, and if you haven't seen Still Walking, you really need to. It's a family, it's almost like an Ozu film in some respects, but with a little bit lighter and a little bit less intensely Japanese. It's about what family life is all about, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful lyrical film. It's terrific. Get a little documentary on here. This is a Criterion Blu-ray, by the way, and you got it. It's so nicely done. There's a documentary on here which has some beautiful, beautiful insights into the way he makes movies. And then a great little booklet and some video interviews with Koreeda and his cinematographer. So great soundtrack too. And then we also have Kieslowski's The Double Life of Veronique on Blu-ray from Criterion. Another amazing Kieslowski film. If you haven't seen this, you got to. Now the thing here is, this film actually had some different cuts around the world. This is not going to give you that. This is the Miramax cut that was released at 97 minutes here, and it was released with a different ending overseas. And
wait. You're saying that Miramax took a highly acclaimed foreign film.
That's right.
And then upon its domestic release, recut it. So it was different.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting they would do that.
Yes. They're notorious for doing that.
I know.
That's what they do. Anyway, but the thing is, Kieslowski did it because Harvey Weinstein persuaded him to. Like, Kieslowski wasn't opposed to it, and he actually took it a step further. He thought, ooh, wouldn't it be neat if I had a different ending for every country on Earth? Like, that's very Kieslowski. Like, Harvey was doing it just because he wanted to make it more commercial for American audiences, but Kieslowski thought, ooh, I can bend cinema in a whole new way.
It sounds like something Lars von Trier would do.
And then he, of course, went on to do 3 colors, blue, white, and red, which is even more amazing. But this is just beautiful. It has a tremendous performance in it from the remarkable Irene Jacob, who, of course, also starred in Red, the concluding chapter in the blue, white, red
By
trilogy.
the way, back then,
yeah,
Irene Jacob, delicious.
Yeah, I knew you were going there.
She was back then, in the day?
She still is.
Yeah, but now she's probably like 50 or something.
No, she's like 39.
No way. How old was she when she did
She's like in her 20s
Red?
or something.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, wonderful commentary here, I got to say, from Annette Insdorf, who is sort of Kieslowski's biographer. She will, of course, pronounce his name as Kirstof Kieslowski, which is the way you're supposed to. I have met Annette Insdorf. She is lovely, and she is endlessly knowledgeable about Kieslowski. They were very close friends, and she knows more about him than anybody else, and she's lovely to listen to. So this is just a great commentary. A bunch of short documentaries and heaps and heaps of other stuff. There's even a behind-the-scenes interview with Kieslowski, who really is so dry. I was one of the last interviews he gave. Do you know that?
That's what
Before
killed
he
him.
died.
That's what killed him.
It is what killed him.
Being interviewed by you.
Yeah. But a lot of great stuff. I mean, it'll just give you endless insights into what a wonderful filmmaker he really was. So this is just an awesome, awesome Criterion release. And then Amarcord, the Fellini film that has been out from Criterion for quite a long time. Also out now on Blu-ray, the 1973 film. Not one of my favorite Fellini films. I think he was a little bit off the nut at the time. But it's still a fun film, and this, of course, is all the same extras that were previously on it, including the audio commentary by Peter Brunette and Frank Burke. And I have to say, it makes me very sad because Peter Brunette died just a few months ago.
Is that right?
Yeah, I knew Peter and met him in Cannes in 1992. A delightful scholar, just a great guy, and so knowledgeable in so many ways, and always gave great commentary, wrote a lot of terrific books, and much to our chagrin, he passed away very unexpectedly probably about 3-4 months ago. So listening to this commentary is quite a sad thing.
His legacy lives on
It
via
does.
audio commentary.
And then last, I did not have a chance to watch hardly any of this because I actually have. There's not enough time left in my life to do so. Heimat 1, 2, and 3 in a gigantic, massive set from Facets. Heimat it's like all of German history in one gigantic, massive chronicle. This is just if you don't know anything about a Heimat, I can't fill you in. No, really, Heimat is just sort of like this epic 20th century German saga, and it ran on German television. It's sort of like Roots to the Roots times Roots. It's just huge. It's massive. Anyway, all 3 parts of this damn thing are out in a giant heavy brick that you could build a house with, and I can't hold it up any longer, so I'm going to put it down because it's really heavy.
It looks like 3 VHSs.
It kind of does. It's just huge. It's just massive. I can't. I mean, Heimat is really good. I can't imagine anybody really wanting to watch the whole thing unless unless you've got some kind of a terminal illness and you're bedridden and there's just nothing, and you've seen every movie ever made.
If you had a terminal illness, you'd be better off watching films you love one last time than watching Heimat.
Okay, maybe. Mark, tell us what you're all juiced about.
Wade, one of my all-time favorite films, is now available on Blu-ray. We're talking, of course, about Network.
Story of your life. You're mad as hell.
I am mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Sidney Lumet, one of my all-time favorite directors, directing one of my all-time favorite films. It's hard to convey how prescient Paddy Chayefsky's Academy Award-winning screenplay was.
What's prescient mean?
It's a big word. When this film was made in the 70s, there was only 3 television networks.
He saw it all coming.
There was not even 4. There was not a Fox. There certainly was not cable TV. There was only 3. ABC, NBC, CBS, that's it.
Yep.
And Chayefsky somehow saw everything that was coming. He saw reality television. Yep. He saw the rise of Glenn Beck, which basically Howard Beale is Glenn Beck.
Kind of, yeah.
And he saw the 120 channel universe. He saw it all. It's unbelievable.
Has anyone ever asked Glenn Beck how he feels about that?
Well, he is that. I mean, do you really think he doesn't think he's that? I mean, come on. I mean, Glenn Beck is nothing but an hour of political theater every single day. That's all it is.
Well, but you know what? I find that it's all political theater now. Like,
well,
I can't get news anywhere.
Sure.
We don't have anchors like Walter Cronkite anymore who just read you the news. Like, you turn on even a regular anchor, and they are yelling at you and they're winking at you, and they're like dropping their pants and shaking their tuchus at you.
It's like sometimes when I turn on the news, not that I do, I don't really watch a whole lot of TV news anymore. Yeah. All I want to know is what happened in America in the last 24 hours. That's all I want to know.
I don't even want to see people interviewed. I'm tired of seeing like congressmen interviewed. I am.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
If that's the worst, Network is the best. Folks, I'm telling you, this is scathing stuff. This is hilarious, and it's tragic, and it is off the charts amazing. And the Blu-ray, while it looks better than the DVD, does not look particularly revelatory. There's some great extras, a 6-part making of documentary, a commentary by the great Sidney Lumet, and vintage Chayefsky interview from the Dinah Shore show, Wade.
Ooh, Dinah Shore. I like Dinah.
Exactly. Dinah Shore had her own show.
I know. It was Dinah. It was called Dinah. It was at the same time as the John Davidson show and Mike Douglas show and Merv. They were all the same. They all had people sitting on stools, and occasionally the host would sing. It was cool.
Terrible.
It was awesome.
All right, so folks, Network, I absolutely cannot recommend this highly enough. I absolutely implore you to at least rent this. And when you rent it, if you're under the age of, let's say, 3, you have to understand the time that this, because you watch the film, you go, oh, it's Glenn Beck. Oh, they're talking about reality TV. This is 30 years before that.
Yeah.
Those terms did not exist.
It's prescient.
It's prescient.
It's prescient.
And why did you not give me that?
Also from the 70s, because I have to get my Howard Beale on. Also from this, what a great cast, man. Seriously, you just don't get,
This thing won 3 acting Oscars.
I know.
3 acting Oscars.
Jeez. Amazing.
This is an all-time classic.
Peter Finch, after he died.
He won it posthumously. That is true.
Yeah.
This is an all-time classic. It must be watched. And by the way, can I say something? I love this film so much that if you can't afford the Blu-ray and you can't afford the DVD, Just stream it, rent it,
Oh,
whatever.
it's
Just
the best.
watch it. If you
And by the
hate it, email me at gods@digigods.com and tell me that I'm full of crap.
Friend of mine in Canada.
Not true. You have no friends.
Friend of mine in Canada, Robert Morris, who is one of the co-authors of the Lawrence of Arabia Anniversary Coffee Table book,
Good.
and is always looking for interesting little anecdotes where movies are concerned, sent me an email saying, hey, I just looked at the Blu-rays of Network and the next film that you're going to talk about, and he goes, these are the only 2 films ever to be nominated for Best Picture that had no score.
That is true. You know what? That is true. That is true. Network has no score.
It has no score. Isn't that
And
interesting?
what also famously had no score, which I knew had no score, was this film, All the President's Men.
Yep, 2 great films from the 70s.
And All the President's Men is on my second tier of all-time favorite films. I love this film because it is about journalism. It is about investigative journalism.
Yes.
And it makes sitting at a typewriter and interviewing people to get to the bottom of Watergate
Yeah,
absolutely exciting.
it does.
It really does. It is Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, directed by the late
Alan J. Pakula.
Alan J. Pakula.
But I gotta say that what's his face that Redford plays?
Bernstein.
No, Redford plays the other dude who's
Woodward.
always on Woodward. Thank you, Bob Woodward. Seriously, we've all seen Bob Woodward. He should be played by Steve Carell. Like if they were making this today, he'd be played by Steve Carell.
He'd be played by Brian Dennehy.
He has no business being equated with Robert Redford.
Nobody was as handsome as Robert Redford in those days.
Yeah, but Bob Woodward's not handsome. It never was.
But Carl Bernstein is a little bit. He's got that Dustin Hoffman mousiness to him.
No, the Hoffman casting is good. That's good for Bernstein, but for no.
So for those who don't know, A, shame on you, and B, just know that the events depicted in All the President's Men brought down Richard Nixon.
It's true.
The special features included, which you will be reading about and watching because you're going to buy this thing because you should, includes a commentary by Robert Redford, which is okay. A couple making up featurettes. There's also a 36-page booklet. And also, you know what's funny is that their main source in real life and in the movie was someone who was known only as Deep Throat.
Yeah.
And for decades, nobody knew who Deep Throat was. Literally, it was one of the great secrets. Who was the anonymous source who gave Woodward and Bernstein all they needed to bring down the president of the United States? And finally, before he died, it was revealed.
I know this. It was revealed because I saw the movie Dick, and it was Kirsten Dunst and what's her name?
I'm not helping you with this because I don't know where it's going.
You don't?
No.
Yeah, it's Kirsten Dunst and what's her name? Who was in Blue Valentine?
Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams and Kirsten Dunst. They were Deep Throat.
They were not.
No.
No. Mark Felt, Deep Throat. That was his name.
Okay.
And by the way, when it was finally revealed that this guy was Deep Throat, some people kind of knew because he worked at the bureau at that time. Many people were surprised.
Wow.
And it was a big deal because again, the who was Deep Throat was one of the great questions for like a quarter century.
Wow.
More.
All right then.
So anyway, All the President's Men is a must buy on Blu-ray. Network is a must anything.
And this is one of those cool Warner Brothers Blu-ray book deals. So
you can give me that too if you want.
Get that great 36-page booklet deal. We also have a double disc set. Now this is on Blu-ray and DVD. The Stranger, the Orson Welles film with Edward G. Robinson and Loretta Young. This is a really cool film. It's been out from public domain houses 1,000 times, and they all look like crap. This one, it's fine. It's because it's Blu-ray, you see a lot of flaws and dirt and junk. I mean, they talk about this like a remastered in high definition. They just didn't clean up the print very well. It's fine. Don't expect like just the earth-shattering, amazing Orson Welles transfer that you're going to get with some of his other films. By the way, where the hell is Magnificent Ambersons?
Well, the thing with Ambersons is that it's a weird movie. I saw that projected at the Film Forum in New York, and the thing with that movie is that I don't know if it's because nobody will be satisfied until the lost reel of Magnificent Ambersons is found in Rio, wherever the heck it's supposed to be. Like there's something about the film that even after all these decades still feels unfinished.
It's never been on DVD.
No. And I'm not sure if it's a rights thing or
Annoying.
Look, it's a huge piece of his history. It's one of the best films, probably the second or third best film from a director whose every film seemed completely compromised, misbegotten, taken away from him.
Yeah.
As great as Orson Welles was, imagine if he got to make every film exactly as he wanted to make it.
I know. Would have been
and
amazing.
not have the studio take it away from him.
Would have been amazing.
Happened a number of times.
Anyway. Well, and then in addition to that, we also have Kansas City Confidential in the same kind of Blu-ray DVD combo pack. This is a great film noir that also suffers from a so-so transfer, but it's fine. It's got John Payne and Colleen Gray, Lee Van Cleef. It's Jack Elam before he was all nasty and crunchy looking.
You should read that.
The picture that hits with bullet force and blackjack fury.
Yeah, now that's a good old fashioned
tagline.
50s tagline.
Yeah, but that's out there as well. And then I also want to make mention, because Mark loves Tyler Perry on DVD and on Blu-ray, for Colored Girls.
This movie was terrible, and you loved it. I don't understand what's wrong with
I don't
you.
love it. I don't love it, but
bad.
it's so different from other Tyler Perry movies. Now, this was originally a play which consisted of just a series of monologues, of kind of feminist monologues from a lot of different women with different struggles and trajectories. And Tyler Perry expanded it. I'm not even going to try and read the name.
Yeah,
of it,
to make it a stupid Tyler Perry movie.
Well, it's not funny. It's not wacky. It's like very serious and
Very melodramatic.
Very
Here's the
melodramatic.
thing. It's based on a play called For Colored Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Was Enough. And it was a huge play. It was huge on Broadway. And they've been trying to make it into a movie for years, decades,
True.
forever.
Yes.
And the idea that this acclaimed, respected, groundbreaking, African-American centered play finally gets made into a movie, and it gets made into that.
Well, it's not terrible. It's an interesting film. It tells me that Tyler Perry is a better director than I ever gave him credit for, because it is actually very interestingly directed. And his other movies have been terribly directed, and it doesn't have any of that wacky comedy that he has in it. It's a much better crossover film. Is it perfect? No. I mean, when these women break into those monologues, it just completely loses. It's like they step out of the movie and into these weird, surreal monologue moments where you really feel that the play is being forced onto the movie, onto the frame of what should have been a different movie. But there are some great moments in here and some very interesting casting, and I think Janet Jackson is terrific, and I think Kerry Washington is outstanding, and Tandy Newton, so-so, Kimberly Elise, pretty good. So it's got its moments. I wouldn't say get it necessarily on Blu-ray. It doesn't demand Blu-ray, but it's decent on DVD.
By the way, Tandy Newton, delicious.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That scene in Mission Impossible 16, whichever one it was,
Yeah.
where she's driving in some sort of a Ferrari, and she like spins out, and she's got like
Right.
the long, straight hair.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Most
Okay.
beautiful girl ever.
All right.
Were you at the screening for Unstoppable?
I was.
Because I remember it was at Fox.
Yeah.
It was on the lot.
Yeah.
So we sit down to see this movie, and we're thinking, oh no, it's Tony Scott.
It's
It's
and the
just gonna
train
be-
and
the
Denzel
train's
Washington.
It's going to be so
and-
bad.
And
And then we're watching it, and I don't know about you, but I'm like, all right,
I'm with it.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
And then you keep going, you're like, I like this.
The theme to this movie, tell me if I'm wrong. The theme to this movie, don't be fat.
That's true. that has motivated me to eat a lot less.
Because the only reason that train gets away is because the fat dude is too fat to actually catch up and hit the lever that stops it.
By the way, speaking of fat, did you hear Kevin Smith has lost 65 pounds?
Yeah, did you hear he's also going to retire?
Well, that
And that Soderbergh is thinking of retiring in 3 years?
Well, Soderbergh, that's a tragedy.
Yeah,
It
but
really
he
is.
can't, maybe he just needs to take some time off.
You know what? There's no way. They'll just like the Rolling. You know who else retired? The Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
They haven't toured in 30 years. They have another reunion tour, then another. You know who else retired about 30 years ago? The Who.
Yeah.
They have not been on stage in 30 years together. It's unbelievable. No, wait, they've been on stage every 3 years at another reunion tour. That's all they do. This is what Soderbergh will do. He's going to retire, and he's going to retire at 50. He'll direct an opera or do a ballet or something or sculpt something, and then he'll come back and do a movie.
Oh.
Anyway, Unstoppable, not bad. I liked it.
I did too.
I get it. It's fine. It's good. It moves fast, and there's a train, and then it's over, and you had a nice time.
I agree with you. I
blurred that. I blurred that. Yeah,
look,
train.
it's kind of one of my pet peeves. It's a movie about an incident, not a story. And that's one of the things that people do now. 127 Hours is another problem movie in that regard, that it's about an incident, and I don't want to see incidents. But for a movie about an incident, it ain't bad. It sort of knows what it is, and I like the fact that if there is any CGI in this movie, there are only a couple of shots where I noticed CGI, and I know they had to be doing some compositing elsewhere, but otherwise I wasn't aware of it. When I saw trains crashing and helicopters and cars slamming, it looked real to me. So as far as I was concerned, there wasn't a lot of computer tinkering, at least none that was obvious, and I like that. But, Denzel, terrific. I had a good time with it. Tony Scott does an audio commentary that is just a complete walkthrough. His heart is not in it. He's just doing it to get it done. But what I did find interesting was On the Rails with the director and cast. A better than average, that and the stunt featurette, better than average stuff. Better than average.
I still think he did this film because he realizes he screwed up one of my favorite films as a kid, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. He screwed that up.
He did.
So he needed to do another train film.
And real quick, we're going to hit a couple other things here. For those of you who are fans of the Ghost House Underground films from Lionsgate, they have released 2 of them on Blu-ray. Psych 9 with Cary Elwes, who for some reason, what did he show up in recently for absolutely no reason whatsoever?
Oh, he was in romantic comedy with somebody.
Totally unrecognizable.
Yes.
He had a beard, and he was in it for like 18 seconds, and you go, why is Cary Elwes in this movie?
All right, keep talking. I'm going to remember what it was.
Okay. And the other one is Stag Night.
He played a doctor.
Yeah. It's something. It was ridiculous. Stag Night with Vanessa Shaw and Breckin Meyer.
What was that thing with the hospital? I picture it. Do I have to go get my phone and look up my list of movies I've seen?
I'll look it up in a second. Anyway, these are both out there on Blu-ray. No great particular reason to get them unless you're a huge fan of both of these. The mastering is fine.
The Natalie Portman thing.
That's right. That's what he was in.
What was it called?
It's
so memorable.
With that movie.
No Strings Attached.
No Strings Attached thing.
My God.
We see too many movies, dude. We were just saying this before the show. We're just like, we hate movies. Like we're so like the end of last year burned us out more than we've been burned out.
It
in
really
years.
has.
I mean, the last 5 weeks of, just like the last 4 weeks of November and December, that 4-week blitz in there before we voted, that was just brutal.
But I usually recover.
Yeah,
sometime by the end of January. Now, my battery is maybe 20% recharged.
I agree,
and we still have to see them, by the way.
I know. Well, I'm still doing Oscar stuff. We're doing our big film week thing at the Egyptian Theater on Sunday.
I know, that's cool.
Yeah, Tim's first gig at
the
Egyptian. Yeah.
I was thrilled to see that he was on a list of people doing it.
We're not in the same group though. They split it into 2 groups.
They do?
Yeah, one group goes up and talks about like director and adapted screenplay and actor and supporting actress, and then the other group goes up and talks about the other 2 acting categories, and then picture and the other screenplay. And
okay, are you going to explain why Toy Story 3 is up for adapted screenplay?
I don't know, and I don't think anyone does.
Seriously, what is up with that?
Makes no sense. All right, so anyway, those 2 films from Ghost House Underground, decent Blu-ray transfers, but I wouldn't, it's not like you're getting a great advantage out of them.
Don't do those. Do something.
Well, people need to know. I will, but people need to know about these things because this is important. Because MGM through Fox is now doing this Blu-ray and DVD to burn thing. It's not Blu-ray, but it's DVD to burn, right? It's like what Warner does with their Warner Archives.
Yes.
You order it and then they make it for you, like it's made to order. So you can't buy it in stores or anything. But this is how so they can release a lot of those kind of obscure catalog films that just don't justify mass production cost. So they say, look, we've got it available. If you want it, we'll like knock a DVD out custom for you, or you can watch it streaming. But anyway, a few of these from the MGM archives is the Spikes Gang. With little Ronnie Howard and Lee Marvin and Charlie Martin Smith. That's Ronnie Howard and Charlie Martin Smith.
I love that, Charlie Martin Smith.
Isn't that great? Charlie Martin Smith. The Spikes Gang. This was one of those Mirish films in the later days when the Mirish Company that did a lot of those Billy Wilder films in the 60s when they were kind of on their last legs, 1974. But an interesting effort by Richard Fleischer. Not the great Richard Fleischer, not a brilliant work for Lee Marvin, but a decent little Western. And then we've also got William Holden and Susanna York in The Seventh Dawn. Directed by Lewis Gilbert, who did a couple of kind of schlocky James Bond films. And this is way too damn long, I got to tell you. This was 1964. This is over 2 hours long, and it's just a Cold War thing with set in Malaysia. And William Holden is holding the torch for kicking commie butt. It's kind of like a pre-Vietnam, post-Korea propaganda film.
Now here's the one you want.
This is the one you want. This is the one you want. I got to tell you, it really dates well. Future World is a pretty great film. Better than Westworld, I think.
Well, Westworld starred Richard Benjamin.
Yeah.
Isn't that just bizarre?
That's just weird. But I got to tell you, Yul Brynner in this film, pretty great. Pretty great. This is one of the classic science fiction films of the 70s. It's from 1976, just before everything turned with Star Wars and Close Encounters. Peter Fonda is terrific. Blythe Danner is perfectly acceptable. And Yul Brynner playing this robotic gunslinger is really great. It's, Future World is a pretty great movie. It's a pretty great, cool science fiction film from the 70s. Definitely check that out. So that's from the whole MGM limited edition collection deal.
You know it.
And they call these manufacturing on demand. And if you're interested...
What a sexy name that is.
I know. That's MOD, right? It's silly. But anyway. So go to mgm.com and find your way through with that. They have not... they don't have it quite as easily accessible as Warner does. But, it's a good little thing that they got going. It's a good little thing they got going. Manufacture on demand. TV or a few more movies?
Let's do some movies and then some TV.
Okay. Robert Downey Jr. in Chaplin. Amazing performance from a guy that I was actually in high school with. He was, speaking of people I was in high school with, if this gets out there, Charlie, please pull it together. No more interviews until you pull it together. Did you hear these interviews?
Yeah, he was on Dan Patrick's radio show.
Oh my gosh. Where is the publicist who is supposed to put the shackles on him? That was not a good move.
I don't think there are shackles thick enough.
That was not a good move.
No.
Like, stay away from crack unless you can,
handle it
socially. Really? Seriously? Oh no! Don't do that, please, Charlie. Don't do that anymore. Robert Downey Jr., though, he had some problems, and he pulled it together. And Chaplin, directed by Richard Attenborough, not as good as, say, Gandhi, which is kind of Attenborough's crowning achievement, but it's awfully good. Downey is he's unbelievable as Chaplin. And when you consider the fact that Charlie Chaplin was such an icon and is so amazing in the movies that he did, I mean, how do you do justice to the great movie icon of all time? I mean, he is the great movie icon. There is no one other than Charlie Chaplin. He's sort of the original, the one, the only. How do you do justice to it? He does it somehow. This is a decent DVD transfer. This is from Lionsgate. It is not brilliant. It deserves better, but it's better than DVD, so I'm going to recommend it. You get a little Chaplin home movie on here that's not that much, and a few other little featurette ditties. Nothing that is that stunning, but thank goodness there's no BD Live stuff. And just because this is a great movie and it's 15 years old, that makes me feel old. I'm going to recommend it. Oh, you know what, Mark? Here, I know this is all about you.
It is?
That's all about you.
Oh my God! Another one of these damn things. Can I say? Even I'm sick of these things now. Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is volume 20. I think I own like 15 of these. I have to say I'm over it. I don't even want this one. Project Moonbase, Master Ninja 1, Master Ninja 2, and the only super funny one here, The Magic Voyage of Sinbad. And of course, all I care about, and I say this all the time, all I care about are the ones that have shorts, and none of these have shorts. So that's not good. There's some bonus features, including a new interview with Master Ninja guest star Bill McKinney, and a new introduction by Trace Below, one of the cast members. And it's good. These are available for streaming on Netflix, by the way.
I know.
So really,
that's where you should watch them.
Yeah.
This isn't collectible anymore because you're really going to go, boy, I got a yearning for one of these. Let's pull it off the shelf.
Look, as much as I love Mystery Science, even I have to admit that I don't need 15 of these damn things.
No.
What else we have? Tyler Perry's House of Pain. We just talked about Tyler Perry earlier for Colored Girls. This is volume 6 of his stupid TV show. 24 episodes.
It's not funny anymore.
And it was never funny to begin with.
It had its moments.
And you know what? I have to say, okay, the show's stupid. Just forget it. Don't buy it. Don't rent it. No one cares. But This does do the one thing that they used to do back when a DVD had no extras.
What's that?
Which is that they would list the episode titles.
That's right.
Honey, this is the episode. This is the season that has the episode.
Oh my gosh!
A Grand Pain.
Terrible.
No, wait. On this 3 is the episode with Friends Like These.
Dreadful.
Honey, we have to get this.
Yes, we do.
Twilight Zone Season 3. The Twilight Zone is, of course,
Blu-ray.
on Blu-ray, one of the all-time great TV shows of all time. And by the way, Twilight Zone started in the late 50s,
I know.
went straight to the 60s, and it holds up so well. I mean, these are essentially great short films.
Yep. True.
19 audio commentaries on these, and some of the best episodes are in Season 3. Such good stuff. Game of Pool is in there, the one with Jackie Gleason. And there's so much good stuff. Isolated scores. Bernard Herrmann did a lot of the music for Twilight Zone. There's isolated scores on there. There's 19 radio dramas. These are new ones. They feature Don Johnson, Blair Underwood, of course, the late Bruno Kirby. Isn't that where Bruno Kirby died?
Yeah, that's so...
Doesn't that just seem bizarre?
It creeps me out.
37 episodes on Blu-ray. It's just fantastic. Twilight Zone is the best. Don't think to yourself, oh, it's old. It's probably stupid. Nope. These are great short films.
They rule. What doesn't really rule is the 4th season of Spin City. And I know there are a lot of Spin City fans out there. And look, this had a great cast. I mean, Alan Ruck, terrific on this. Richard Kind, Michael Boatman, Barry Bostwick. But here's the reason the 4th season is problematic for me. This was the last season that Michael J. Fox was on the show. And you can tell things aren't right with him on this show, and knowing what we know now, it just makes it very, very hard to watch, because all you do is, even when the jokes come, you sit there and you watch it and you go, but the guy's suffering, and it makes it very, and I don't want to belittle the show, because he's given it his all, and he won an Emmy for this season as well, but it makes it very hard to watch. And the only other plus there is that Heather Locklear joins the cast, and every single time Heather Locklear joins the cast of a show, it's usually because the show needs a boost. She's kind of like the last resort for all shows that are kind of on their last legs. But I always enjoyed Heather Locklear, and I will never forget that wonderful moment back in, I don't remember, maybe the early 80s when I was at Battle of the Network Stars and I watched Scott Baio choose to dunk both Heathers in the softball dunk. That was awesome. Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas from Dynasty and The Fall Guy.
I remember Heather Thomas. Heather Thomas used to live on... Heather Thomas, I had to deliver a script to her house once. This is many years ago. She had one of those huge houses on San Vicente Boulevard in Santa Monica.
Yeah, true. Totally true. I want to mention some kid stuff before we get completely out of time here. We are running out of time. We got a couple of Dora the Explorer things for those of you who like to torture your children. One is called Sisters and Brothers, and the other one is called Dora's Ballet Adventures. This is strictly for people who hate their children and want to infect them with all kinds of very strange ideas. Now, here's what's interesting: if you if you have a friend who has a little boy that you really dislike, go over there and just put Ballet Adventures on and dress the little kid in a tutu and see what those people do. They'll freak out. The brothers and sisters thing is meant to suggest that siblings love each other. It's nonsense. We all know that's not true. And then Tom and Jerry Volume 1, Fur Flying Adventures, is 14 cartoons that are so-so. I'm still waiting for the quintessential Tom and Jerry collection that has... there's nothing really amazing here. There's a lot of good stuff, but nothing just earth-shatteringly good. But I'll tell you what is good from the Warner Archive collection and the Hanna-Barbera Classic collection, which is where a lot of the Hanna-Barbera Classic stuff is showing up now, is Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch, the complete series. This is a terrific Hanna-Barbera show that kind of predates Cars, but it's the same kind of a thing. 13 episodes is all this series ran, but it's very clever. And the Speed Buggy had nothing on Chopper and the... on Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch.
Lame.
You like it. You
Lame.
like it.
You know what they thought? Oh, kids love cars. Let's do an animated show about cars.
It predates Cars, and we're going to get Cars 2 from Pixar and Disney this summer.
Cars is the one Pixar film I don't like.
This predated them all. I like Cars. I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Route 66. I got very nostalgic for Route 66, and I think I'm going to take off in the morning and go drive it all over again.